Hi and welcome everyone to our 68th episode of The Little Inside. As every week before this episode, I'm still Toby. And this week we're going to talk a little bit about the problems with guru devotion. So let's get started right after the intro. My own teacher has once told me that we should serve those who are above us in attainment with devotion and those who are below us in attainment with compassion. So this is a very, very nice statement. So devotion is something that's very powerful. It's an uplifting force. If you have devotion towards someone who has higher attainment than yourself on the path, then you can say that sort of a downloading process is happening. You're downloading their attainments into your mind stream. And this happens through devotion, because devotion is a state that opens you up and it humbles you. And as we discussed previously in another episode about humility, humility is also a state that opens us up. Basically, if you're coming there as a full cup, I know it all, I know about Buddhism, I've studied it and all that kind of, you're basically closing yourself off. You're not receptive. So humility is a very receptive state, and so is devotion, being there, serving someone that takes care of you spiritually with devotion is absolutely necessary on the path and a very good quality. You'll see many, many students who are very close to qualified and great spiritual teachers. They're very devoted, very naturally devoted. They might even express the devotion physically by bowing their heads or folding their hands or something like this, or talking very respectfully about their teacher. I've seen my own teacher, for example, when he talks about his teacher, he would always fold his hands and sometimes even cry out of devotion. It's a very moving display and very authentic, very honest. And of course you have those people who try to copy that. They say, now I have a guru and I see my guru cry when he talks about his guru, so now I need to become very sentimental when I talk about my guru, and it becomes all this kind of fakery or like not fakery but pretense that we very often can see in the Western world, where you have all these starry-eyed, glassy-eyed students that look at their teacher with this devotion, seeing kind of the teacher like some sort of god that pulls them out of their misery, almost like a superstar or rock star. And it can quickly turn into this kind of harmful devotion, where much more than an uplifting positive force is at play. We have this kind of force at play that establishes a hierarchy where the teacher is always seen as the one that is way, way up there on top of my head, far away from me in attainment, and myself always seen as the inferior student. That creates an energetic imbalance that doesn't finally allow you to reach the level of your teacher. Ideally, a guru or a teacher or a spiritual master or wholesome friend, however you want to call it, serves the purpose of pulling you up into the light, or you could say empowering you to walk the walk into your own light. So if the teacher is authentic, is someone that has attained, then the attainment of the teacher serves as a pulling force when it connects with the devotion of the student. It's a pulling force. There's several things at play. It's not only just the words that the teacher says, it's also a lot of energetic things that are happening, and as well on the mental plane there's many things that are happening. We can call it a transmission, for example. The teacher is not only just transmitting words and teachings, but also an energy and also the mental state of his or her attainment. So it's really important to be around those who have attained, who are higher in attainment than we are. So it's uplifting. And then really is something that's quite normal. You see it also in everyday life, in a normal person's life, when we are just normal. I mean someone who is not a spiritual practitioner here. I just call it a normal person. Like let's say someone wants to be a golf pro, then it would be wise to hang around people who are really, really good at golf, at least better than yourself, right? And so you can upgrade your skill by hanging around people who have the skill that you want to embody. And if you're building a kind devotion towards those people, then the transference of their power to you is happening more swiftly and easily, because you are there open to receive. And you receive gladly. This is what devotion really is. You are receiving everything that the teacher, the master, the guru has to offer gladly. You're happy to receive it. So a student's devotion really also shows to the teacher that the student really wants what the teacher has. And so that gives rise to happiness within the teacher's mind stream as well, to see that these teachings can be carried on, that there is someone who is gladly receiving what the teacher has to offer. So that's a very powerful and uplifting relationship. But as with everything, there is a dark side to it too. And the dark side has a lot to do with abuse of power, for example, from the side of a teacher, keeping the students small, not giving them for example, not giving them information that helps them to grow in order to keep them small, to keep like a hierarchy alive. Some teachers, they might really be attached to their hierarchy. I'm the big boss, I'm the big teacher, and then there are my close students, and then there are the little students underneath the close students, and I want to keep this distance, right? I've once heard a good friend of mine talk about this, and he said something that I found quite interesting to contemplate. So I want to share that here with you. He said that if someone spends 40 years to attain a certain state of enlightenment or a proficiency on the spiritual path, and shares that with his students, then the student shouldn't take that long to actually get what the master has attained, because the master is now able to pass his attainment on in a condensed form. All the 40 years of search, the student doesn't have to undertake those 40 years of search. So the development of the student should be faster. It should be more efficient, right? And so the student should then maybe attain, let's say, just for the sake of this example here, within 20 years' time, because he doesn't have to spend 20 years searching. So it's just 20 years of following what the teacher says properly, and then within 20 years there is a proper attainment. Now that student then can pass on his or her experience to another student, and helping that student to grow. And now within 40 years, that student has not only attained the level of his teacher, but also has 20 years of additional experience, life experience, living with the realization. So what this teacher can pass on after 40 years of his own practice is by far stronger and more powerful than what his teacher has passed on. So that made me contemplate the way it often is. So for example, you have hierarchies, you have structures, you have certain systems and traditions, and then it is said within that tradition it takes this and that amount of time for you to attain realization. And that might be true. I'm not really qualified to actually talk about this, but I'm here in this video actually just to give rise to a cautious observation. Like, you want to look really well. How do I relate to my teacher, to my spiritual guide? Why do I do what I do? And is it really benefiting me? So you want to observe. Take a few years to spend with the teacher, and then take your time to actually observe and analyze. Is your life actually getting better? Is your mind becoming more happy? Is it becoming more still? Are you able to actually realize for yourself directly what you have read in the books? Is your teacher leading to what he's talking about, or is it just talk? And is it just this kind of relationship? And here we have to be really careful to observe ourselves. Am I relating to my teacher like a mommy-daddy figure? Am I scared of being punished? Am I looking for reward? Am I looking for affection and attention from my teacher? That is very, very popular. Many of the students often are looking for affection from their teacher. I myself have been looking for affection from my teacher for many, many years, and it is a habit that dies very, very hard, because the power of the attention that comes from a spiritual practitioner is very strong, and people can get very attached to it and carried away by it. My guru has looked at me, and what does it mean, and all this kind of stuff that can arise, and we really go into fantasy land very fast, losing track of why we are really here. The reason for actually relating to a spiritual guide here on our path, the path as I've learned it, is solely for the reason of actually being able to let go of suffering or cultivating happiness. Doesn't matter how you call it. You can say letting go of suffering, which is the same as actually allowing your happiness to shine as well. So this is the purpose of relating to a teacher, to go beyond suffering, right? And so the question is, well, am I going beyond suffering? How is it going? If I spend time with that person, how about my levels of suffering? Are they decreasing? Well, then spend some more time if so. Test more and more. And it's a very functional relationship. It's not this idolized fantasy relationship between my teacher being this amazing, enlightened, powerful being. Not really. I think it doesn't really serve its purpose very well, particularly in the Western community. I think it's more important to see whether it's practical or not. Does it actually work? And then over the years, through the attainments, through the deepening of your own happiness and joy, you will build a relationship with your teacher that is very powerful, very beautiful, and so uplifting. There's nothing much like it, but from the very beginning you cannot fake that. It's something that develops over time. Like when you visit a doctor, the doctor helps you once, you build some faith, right? And you go back to the same doctor when you have another problem, and he helps you again. Wow, more faith. And then you go back again, and he helps you again. Even more faith. So over the time, you're not only building a friendly, positive relationship with your doctor, there's also a deep faith in your doctor. It's the same thing with the teacher. It's not there to, a doctor, for example, is not there to be idolized, to put a picture of your doctor on your altar and then pray to the picture and give candles to the picture and so forth, and pretend that you're totally spiritually in love with this picture of your doctor, and this is my guru, and that is just simply spiritual ego. It is a spiritual persona that we're building, and it is not authentic. Why are we on the spiritual path? The important question to ask. Why am I here? Why do I relate to this person? Does this person have what I want? And by following the instruction that this person has given me, do I get to these states that I desire? That's simple. It's a very practical relationship. And over time, over the years, sure, your devotion grows, the love for your teacher grows, the respect for your teacher grows in an authentic and healthy way. So that's pretty much all that comes to mind for this topic. It's a big topic, of course, and there's lots to discuss about such a topic. If you do have any questions, I encourage you to write them down in the comment section below. And let me know. You can also write me an email if you like. I'm always happy to receive your emails or your questions and whatever not. I try to respond as good as I can. And well, for now, I think that's good enough. And I wish all of you guys a wonderful next week and look forward to see you all again next Wednesday. Bye bye.